K, joined by my guy, Chase Hoke, just like I am some Wednesday nights.
I was wondering how you were
at 7:30 p.m. Central Time here on Facebook. We're also live on the Upper Cumberland Reporters YouTube channel right now, testing that out for the first time, see if we can get a little traffic over on YouTube. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
A little bit of news broke yesterday. I did an emergency podcast, but we had to get my guy Chase in here and had a day to digest things.
Yeah.
And kind of take them in a little bit. Go follow us on Twitter at TNTalkPod or follow us on X at TNTalkPod, whatever the heck you want to call it. Hit share to a group, share it to all the Titans groups that you're in, share it to your personal pages, send it in Messenger to your friends, send it in Messenger to your exes. Just send it to everybody so we can all talk about the news of the day.
Yeah.
And there was some news of the day yesterday. Amy Adams Strunk fires Mike Vrabel. He gone. Out of there. Terminated. Next, Amy Adams Strunk, a stone-cold assassin, takes Mike Vrabel out. The Titans are looking for a head coach. They have interviewed or requested to interview every assistant in the National Football League, and we got to talk about it. So let us know how you're feeling in the comments section. You, of course, are our third co-host here on the show. Chase is sharing it to the Titans groups as slowly as he usually does.
Man,
and
it
I'm
just now popped up, brother.
It popped
It
up
just
like
now
20 seconds ago. Okay, it really
maybe
did.
for you, I don't know what's going on, man. Maybe it's because we haven't went live in a while, but you done a great job addressing that yesterday. Life happens.
Oh,
It's been crazy.
Yes.
But I'll tell you this. If you're on the side that Mike Vrabel should still be the coach, I don't know if this is going to be the show for you.
You're on one.
Well, here's the deal. If you want to get to it, we were never going to win a Super Bowl with Mike Vrabel. I mean, when it comes to game management and game decisions, the dude is borderline a moron. Right?
Golly.
I mean, no, let's be honest.
Man.
I understand.
You're feeling feisty.
I am, but I understand that Ryan Tannehill was this team's quarterback and people feel a certain way about it, and we absolutely lost to the Bengals because of him. But do you remember the year prior when we were talking about it? It was 4th and 3. We've crossed the 50. Yes. Less than 5 minutes to go and we punt?
Against the Ravens.
Yeah,
Divisional round.
What an idiot.
Or wild card round.
What an absolute idiot. And I'll tell you this, too. And you hit the nail on the head yesterday. Absolutely. Mike Vrabel himself cost us a chance to go to the Super Bowl in 2019. All of a sudden, Dean Pease is not good enough. Even though he's called a great defense all season long in the AFC Championship game, Mike Vrabel has to take control of calling the defensive plays. And another one that I've seen people talk about, how we're going to go back to the Jeff Fisher days. Well, let me tell you, Jeff Fisher got this team to a Super Bowl. You can absolutely make the argument that Jeff Fisher done more for this franchise than Mike Vrabel did.
2 AFC Championship games?
Yeah.
Same winning percentage, actually a little higher winning percentage for Jeff
Absolutely.
Fisher. Yeah.
Mike Vrabel, and how can a fan base in the middle of the season talk about how bad Mike Vrabel is, and then he's fired, and all of a sudden, what? What is going on? Give me a break. Mike Vrabel was an arrogant, pompous prick.
Wow.
He was.
You're
Yesterday.
You're as decisively in favor of this as anybody I've heard.
Yeah, I'm all for Mike Vrabel being fired. Yesterday, I'm not going to lie, yesterday, I was on the fence.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was because I was genuinely shocked. Mm-hmm. Because every time something's been stirred up and media are talking about all the rumors going around, it almost seemed like it was shut down. But it was never really Mike Vrabel shutting it down. Yeah. Right? I mean, it was just people talking. And then I was thinking this morning, last night.
Dangerous.
Yeah, it is dangerous.
That's dangerous.
But I was thinking, midway through the year and even last year, on this show, on this podcast, we talked about what kind of advantage does Mike Vrabel give this football team. Mm-hmm. He doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't. And I've got guys on Twitter, they were tweeting at me, well, his players play hard. I would hope. I would hope in the NFL you're playing hard not because of your coach, but because you're getting paid to go out there and play. Mike Vrabel, I'll be honest, Mike Vrabel's a good head coach. I'm not going to sit here and act like.
Are you sure?
I get positive? I'm not going to sit here and act like he's Ken Wisenhunt, right? I mean, he absolutely. But
would you say he's the John Robinson of head coaches? Is that?
Well, I think you can make the argument that the team he took over, his first year, we went 9-7, correct?
Correct. And then we went 9-7 again.
Right.
So when 9-7 missed the playoffs, 9-7 made the playoffs, went to the AFC Championship game.
You can make the argument that he really honestly took over a pretty good spot. I mean, Mike Mularkey gets a lot of flack, but he had this team in a pretty good position.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like
Won a playoff game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, my opinion on Mike Vrabel is he a good head coach? Yes. Is he going to get a job somewhere? Yes. And I think fans are upset that the fact that we probably could have traded him for something, but like Amy Adams Strunk said, I don't think it's worth going to the back of the line because those things take time. If you're trading a coach, the other team still has to adhere to the Rooney Rule and things like that, and it's not worth missing out on whoever you think your guy is just to trade your head coach.
Anthony, I'm here. You can start now. Travis, what's up, man? Dion, I've been saying Vrabel's just a glorified Jeff Fisher. Anthony said he was still a good coach. John Robinson is what killed us. Tony, the Vrabel stands are going to be so mad at you, Chase. Dion, and the people are taking me off acting like Vrabel was the second coming of Vince Lombardi.
They are. It's insane.
I do wonder this on the reaction side. If the Titans had gotten blasted by the Jags, if the first Jag game had happened, right, where they lost by, 28, 30 points, if that happened on Sunday, is the reaction the same? Real question. Are people as up in arms about this if they get blasted by the Jags?
No.
And finish that season, what are we, 6-11? If we finished at 5-12, are people this up in arms?
No, they're not.
Absolutely I think not. And so, listen, this is the thing I admire about Amy Adams Strunk. And this move. Mike Mularkey did some good things.
Yeah.
You could argue Mike Mularkey did a better job than Mike Vrabel did.
Oh, you absolutely can make the argument.
She could see, and rightfully so, that Mike Mularkey was not going to get this team to the Super Bowl. She quickly made the decision. 6 years is a pretty significant tenure in the NFL. This is the longest tenured coach in the AFC South by a wide margin. One of the longest tenured coaches in the entire league at 6 years. Which may be an indictment on the league, but it's just a fact of life. There's 6, 7, 8 openings every year in the NFL. She didn't quickly fire him. I think she saw what we all saw, which was this team going in the opposite direction. And listen, and I've already seen the comments about, John Robinson, and yeah, we get it. John Robinson was bad. He got fired for a reason. But this Titans team, think about what happened this year. The Colts game in Indy.
Yeah.
Late drive, they beat them. The Colts game in Nashville, they gave up an overtime drive after driving down to take a 3-point lead
think about
to lose
the Saints
the game.
Week 1.
The Saints game. So for all the roster flaws, now you can look at that one of two ways, okay? You can look at that as, man, Mike Vrabel did an unbelievable job getting the team in that position, or you can look at it as Mike Vrabel situationally wasn't good enough as a head coach to put his team in a position to succeed. And here's why I lean more towards that. In his entire career here, the Titans have never been good in that situation. Now, I think Mike Vrabel was good at getting players to want to go play for him, right? That's how he got them to beat the Jaguars. Right. That's how you have them still engaged in the Miami game. But that wasn't brilliant situational awareness in Miami.
Right.
That was Miami taking their foot off the gas and the Titans playing through the game. So there's a strength there for Mike Vrabel. But this team needed a guy maybe a little bit smarter, because Mike Vrabel thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he's not.
Yep.
And maybe a little bit better in those situations. And I think Amy Adams Strunk gave him an opportunity to do that. Saw that time and time again it wasn't getting done. Saw him go to New England in the bye week and say, we've got a game to win.
It's not a good look.
It wasn't a good look. And
wasn't
I know
at the time.
People blew it off. It wasn't a good look. And then saw him come back home and not be great situationally and said, okay, I really like the GM that we hired. This is Amy Adams Strunk saying, I think we're moving in the right direction personnel-wise. I like my quarterback. I like my cap space. I don't love my head coach.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get a head coach that I love.
Yeah.
And she pulls that trigger.
And
now,
I give her credit.
You're very pro, okay, that was good. I'm totally good with it as long as they hire a young offensive coach.
Yeah, you got to get the hire
offensive coach next. Yeah. If they go hire Antonio Pierce, I'm going to come unglued.
Yeah, you've got to get the coaching job right. But here's the deal when it comes to Mike Vrabel, okay? He was the head coach for 6 seasons.
Yes.
He had 2 playoff wins. Hasn't won a playoff game since 2019.
Yep.
13-21 record the last 2 seasons. I'm sorry. But if you're – the players went out and played hard for him. Clearly not hard enough. You know what I'm saying? And I understand the roster is what it is. I understand that John Robinson absolutely put this team in a bind. But if it's not for Ryan Tannehill getting injured, we would have never seen Will Levis play this year.
Okay, let me just say this, though, on the roster thing, and kind of to amplify your point. because this is a common theme. And I kind of hit on this before the season ended when we're talking about, kind of forecasting the next season. We understand left tackle, center, and probably right tackle, big liability. That's bad.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
That is objectively bad. This team had the second leading rusher in the NFL. They had the leading yard getter rookie running back in the NFL when it comes to total yards. They had DeAndre Hopkins, who still could play.
Yep.
They had defensively, the only team in the league, unless it passed on Sunday, with 2 players with double-digit sacks to go along with Jeffrey Simmons, who got hurt. They had Azeez Al-Shire, who I think was a revelation to a lot of people. Otis Reese looked like he could play. They need a corner. They need 2 corners, no question about it. I thought Elijah Molden did fine at free safety, and I actually like kind of the rotating pieces they had in there at strong safety. This was not the Panthers roster.
Right.
And so didn't you look around the AFC South? Is the Colts roster with Gardner Minshew at quarterback better than the Titans roster?
No.
Now, C.J. Stroud is tremendous. I'm not worried about that. The Titans roster, in my opinion, is better than the Jags roster because I got a level head and didn't freak out the way everybody else did about Trevor Lawrence, who is clearly overrated.
Yeah.
And all 3 of those teams were battling for a playoff spot.
And you're not.
While the Titans were 5-12 or 5-11 the last game of the season. So I get the offensive line is terrible, but they had an opportunity to win these games, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't win these games.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, you get held accountable if you don't win football games.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too, for people that think, you can't convince me Mike Vrabel didn't want out. Because Ian Rappaport this morning on Good Morning Football talked about how Amy Adams Strunk, they had a meeting, went over some options with him, and he didn't want to do any of them. So then she fired him. And that's not a surprise. We were talking about before we went live. I mean, Mike Vrabel is so hard-headed and stubborn, and everything's got to be his way. He is a coach that I think does want to have full control. He wants to be like Bill O'Brien was with Texans and Bill Belichick is with New England.
He hadn't earned that.
No, he absolutely hasn't. And Tony says Vrabel refused to make changes, and the buddy-buddy system lost his job for him. Yeah. Yep. And you made a great point before we went live.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we were talking about Mike Vrabel and how we want to go to an offensive-minded coach. You said maybe it was his offense because it really didn't change much.
Yeah.
It really didn't in the grand scheme of things. And
yeah,
I don't know.
And listen, my dad is right. Coaching quarter is the third quarter. We rarely win the third quarter.
Yeah.
Dion,
I'm right there with you.
I'm not saying Vrabel is a bad football coach, but he has strengths and weaknesses. And right now, this Titans team needs those weaknesses to become strengths. They need to be better situationally. They need to be more creative offensively. And the buddy-buddy system is a problem for Mike Vrabel.
Absolutely.
Get outside of your own bubble.
Yeah.
And he just can't get out of his bubble. Right? And Tim Kelly, okay, I kind of got it, and I'm still not as anti-Tim Kelly as everybody else is.
I'm not either.
But for the love of God, Todd Downing was terrible. Tim Kelly was great in Houston as their OC. Right? We know I don't like Deshaun Watson, never have, never will. I get proven right every day about that. You're the same way. And he had everybody thinking he was a top 5 quarterback. Yeah. Todd Downing took Derek Carr from MVP to nearly out of the league. That was a terrible hire. But Vrabel was too stubborn. And, by the way, okay, you made the bad hire. Everyone knew he was bad after his first year, and he wouldn't fire him until after his second year when he saw the writing on the wall that it's him or you, and then he made that decision. So, I'm with you, man. I agree on the whole Vrabel. I'm not as, screw him. But to act like he's Vince Lombardi
right,
is asinine.
It's egregious. And I'll be honest, I'm not as much, screw Mike. I'm not going to sit here and act like he didn't do some good things for this franchise. But I think that as far as we've gotten under Mike Vrabel is as far as we were going to go.
Yeah.
I don't think Mike Vrabel is a game-changing head coach. He's just simply not. He's a good coach in terms of being able to get guys to play for you, holding guys accountable, things like that. Well, unless you're Todd Downing getting a DUI, then, we just sweep that under the rug. But I don't think everything that, Mike Vrabel done was bad. And you can make the case that he probably didn't deserve to get fired. But at the same time, if I go into a meeting with my boss and they lay over some options with me, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing none of those. I'm going to do my way.
You're going to get fired.
I'm getting fired.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
I mean, no ifs, ands, buts about it. And I think Amy Adams Strunk was very telling. She is not wanting to settle for mediocrity. And I understand we live in Tennessee and people love just being average. I don't know why, but God, they love it. The Vols make a bowl game, and woo!
And people are giving these other, you're watching these other teams, right? They're like, oh, well, you can't fix it in an offseason. Okay. First of all, what are you fixing? Because this team was in a win-and-end game with Joshua Dobbs last year. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just set the stage that way. You can't fix what J-Rob broke in a year. Okay. I watched Houston go from the worst team in the league to in the postseason. Yeah. I watched Indy go from one of the worst teams in the league, losing their rookie quarterback and being in a win-and-end game. I watched Mike Vrabel take the Titans with a promising rookie quarterback, a talented rookie running back, now rejuvenated DeAndre Hopkins, a good off-ball inside linebacker, right? All of these pieces go from, let me check, 7 wins to 6.
And, here's what's crazy to me, and honestly, I just thought about it. The Eagles won a freaking Super Bowl with Nick Foles as their quarterback. They fired Doug Peterson just a couple years later. No outrage, nothing like that. But for some reason, our fans in the national media are acting like we just we fired John Madden or Nick Saban. Yeah. Like we just fired the greatest coach to ever breathe.
It is far beyond time for this football team to enter the 21st century. We are nearly a quarter of the way into this century, and we are the only team in the league that insists on putting 3 tight ends on the field and running forward for 2 yards at a time. Right? And I pray to God, the next coach, Bobby Slowick, the next coach.
Dude, that would be such a home run.
I no longer have to watch Titans games. Right? Even bad teams. It's like watching a different sport than when the Titans play. Like, even the crappy Cardinals are entertaining sometimes. The Titans is boring. And I'm okay with old school football, but do it the way the freaking Lions do it. Let's be creative in the run game, not, here comes Derrick Henry for a gain of 1, and Derrick Henry for a gain of 2, and a punt. Please, let's move this along. And Mike Vrabel, as the CEO head coach, had an opportunity to do that, and he didn't do it.
No, he wanted to stay in-house. Everything's got to be his way or the highway. Mike Vrabel, the only time he went out of the box, and maybe they were good buddies, I don't know, was LaFleur.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
After that, it was in-house.
Yeah. And listen, I saw this comment talking about Arthur Smith, but it rings true. How difficult is it when you have prime Derrick Henry and prime A.J. Brown to go, let's run it 30 times a game and throw up 4 play action slants across the middle and see what happens and score a bunch of points.
And not only that, you had a really good offensive line too.
Correct.
So, it's a completely different football team.
Right. And so, that's more of a testament to John Robinson than it is Mike Vrabel. That's the little dirty secret, right? That's the little part nobody wants to talk about. Now, that's not just an excuse for John Robinson. He had to go.
I'll tell you this.
Sucks. But by the way, let me also say this. This whole, we do this, this is John Robinson's draft, and John Robinson traded A.J. Brown. Mike Vrabel was in that building. And we really think Mike Vrabel, right, for all that we've heard now, was just, okay, John, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and trade. Well, whatever you want to do, John. He was a part of these decisions, guys.
I think John Robinson had a much better working relationship than Rand and Vrabel did.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
And you can't tell me, I understand the way Vrabel was walking around, but you cannot tell me that he didn't know that was going to happen, before it happened. He didn't find out just all of a sudden John's on the phone, hey, buddy, we'll give you A.J. Brown for this pick. That did not happen. And then Vrabel's like, what? No.
No.
Absolutely not.
No way. He's sitting in there.
Yeah. And
he just sat back, but he was sure – old Alpha Vrabel was sure okay with sitting back and watching John Robinson eat all those bullets. He was sure okay with that.
Absolutely, man. And here's what gets me with Mike Vrabel, too. Ryan Tannehill was his guy. Mm-hmm. He needed a spark in the offense. He benched Marcus Mariota, put in Tannehill. Granted, it's the right decision. I'm not going to sit here and act like Ryan Tannehill didn't do good things for this franchise either. But this year, it's clear Ryan Tannehill was never going to play to the form as he did in 2019 and 2020.
Correct.
It was never coming back. If he doesn't get that high ankle sprain, Will Levis never sees the field.
Malik Willis was the backup.
Yeah. Yes.
Levis was inactive. He was inactive, ladies and gentlemen. Probably mostly gentlemen. He was inactive. Okay? Like the future franchise quarterback who we all now see, which, by the way, listen, let's just get one thing perfectly freaking clear. If you couldn't tell already, and especially by reading Amy Adams Strunk's message, Will Levis is this team's quarterback next year. There's no question about it. Will Levis is this team's franchise quarterback in 2024. Yep. Just get that straight immediately. They're not drafting Michael Penix. They're not drafting Bo Nix. They're not drafting J.J. McCarthy. It's going to be Will Levis's football team next year.
Yeah. Cameron says it's 100%. It 100% has to do with the fact that we could have received assets for him. I know we can't afford to wait to start our coaching search, but that is the fact. I understand. And we could have traded Mike Vrabel. But at the same time.
Everyone says that.
Right. I mean, who knows? But at the same time, Amy Adams Strunk, like she said, it is complicated. And you are not going to be able to get the main guy you want because chances are he's going to be hired. It is absolutely worth going ahead and moving on as quick as you can so you're able to get the right coach.
Correct.
I'm sorry, but trading him for a first and going and hiring dude down the street isn't going to get the job done.
You aren't getting a first. There's only two coaches in the history of this league that have gone for a first-round pick, John Gruden and Sean Payton, both of which have nice rings on their hands.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel doesn't have that. You are at best going to get a second-round pick from Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
And you were going to be behind in the interviewing cycle. You've seen they're wasting no time. They're interviewing everybody today, except Bobby Slowick. Please, 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 please.
Get that request in.
Please.
I heard you had an interview tomorrow.
I do. They saw my record. I got a better winning percentage than Mike Vrabel, I'll tell you that right now. Guarantee you that.
Here's what, and I think you've had a great point in the middle of the season. I know you're being sarcastic, but I would absolutely laugh. Sit down, play a game of Madden. I want to see how you manage.
No,
you should.
I'm dead serious. I got to see how you handle this clock. We're fast forwarding 2 minutes to go in the game, and let's see how you manage the clock. It should be a requirement because I know I can manage the clock better than some of these dudes do. and I will. And so, where are the strengths of Vrabel? He could finagle the rules, right? He had a good understanding of that stuff. And I think the players wanted to play for Mike Vrabel. But that is not enough. This is professional. That may work at Ohio State. Genuinely, it may work at Ohio State. Just get them fired up and ready to play. In the NFL, you know what gets them fired up and ready to play? Your paycheck.
Yeah.
It's a business. So everyone just relax. It's not the end of the freaking world. Let's see what they do and who
I'll
they
tell
hire.
you this. I think if we make the right hire, slow it, that –
slow it.
It's going to be the best thing for this franchise moving forward. And like you said, I mean, Amy Adams Strunk has made decisions that have absolutely helped this team. She fired John Robinson at the perfect time, right? Jury's still out on Rand.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to sit here. I was never one of those guys in J-Rob we trust. I'm not going to be one of those Rand's the man. It's not happening, right? It is not happening. Jury's still out on Rand. I don't think he's been bad at all. Granted, he's not the one that made the decision to fire Vrabel. He should not have been the one to do that press conference.
No. Yeah, and that pathetic Mike Keith interview where they spliced it together did nothing. That did nothing for me. Like, literally, you might as well just not said anything if you're Amy Adams Strunk. That was pathetic, but I digress. Still, I mean, Dion, people think Amy Adams Strunk is new to football and just got here in 2015. The woman's been around the business her whole life, and she's on point with her moves. Yeah, listen, she's Bud's daughter.
Absolutely.
Let's just be clear about this.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that they're building a big stadium.
Yep.
A very expensive stadium. And they're trying to charge a ridiculous amount of money for season tickets, which is a problem on its own. You better have a football team that people want to go see.
You got to be able to back it up.
And the last 2 years, nobody has wanted to watch that football team play. The only reason we did this year was because of Will Levis. And maybe we had a spark in the future. That's a problem. Yeah. If nobody wants to watch your NFL team play football.
Yep.
It was boring.
No, it was. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, honestly, I would doze off.
Well,
and
yes.
I mean, it happens, and especially the year before. It happens, and that is because, like you said, we go out there and play football like it's the 1960s, right? It's boring, and it is a completely different sport, man, watching other teams. Look at the Packers and Jordan Love, his first year as a starter. They are fun to watch.
Cam, if Slowick isn't the guy, Callahan or Johnson, I think they've asked about Callahan and Johnson already. I'm not a huge Callahan guy. Johnson would be interesting. My hesitation with Johnson, and I said it yesterday, he's a run-heavy guy. I would like a passing offense, please. Let's get away from and I get it's a different sort of run game and it's creative, but he's still a running guy. And maybe that would change a little bit outside of being under Dan Campbell. But still, I want a pass first guy. Bobby Slowick, to me, he's got connections to Rand Carthon. He's from that tree.
He's got to be the number one guy.
He's got to be the number one guy. I mean, that to me feels like, and he already has, you see what he's done with a young quarterback in C.J. Stroud.
I mean, let's
They're
be clear.
different, but Will Levis has that similar big arm skill set to a C.J. Stroud.
And here's the thing, too, and another point. Neither one of us were big on Tank Dell, right?
Correct.
Before he got hurt, the way Slowick was able to utilize him in that offense, and actually Nico Collins' emergence this year is very telling. To do that along with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm all for Slowick.
What up, Chris? Our guy Chris is tuning in. Dion, at least all of Rand's rookie picks actually contribute instead of not being ready or hurt. No doubt. Listen, and I'm not saying I'm anti-Rand. I'm just very jury out on Rand.
Right.
Let's see him put really a full free agency period together.
This is his first full offseason.
Yeah, this is. I very much would like to see a change in the scouting department. I want to see the old J-Rob scouts escorted out, and I want to see some new ones brought in. But they did a better job scouting last year, clearly. So this is the most pivotal offseason for the Tennessee Titans since they moved to Nashville. Because they can either take a big leap forward or they can become what everybody's accusing them of being online, of a dysfunctional mess, and go back into the cellar of the league. I feel like they're probably more positioned to take a step forward, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and it's like Amy Adams did say in that interview with Mike Keith. I mean, this is I think it's a very attractive coaching position. You know,
I agree.
I know a lot of people talk about the Chargers because they have Herbert and some talent, but they have absolutely no cap space. Like, they're going to have to trim down that roster.
Yeah.
I think you can make the case that this is the best job opening in the NFL simply because you already have your young quarterback. You have a draft pick inside of the top 10. You have tons of money to spend in free agency.
I hate when people come in here and put words in our mouths, okay? Eddie. First of all, I've never said a bad word about See, that's a joke. I hated. Let's just make sure we're clear on the record here, okay? I hated the Will Levis draft pick.
Yeah.
I didn't like Will Levis in college, but I very quickly came around to Will Levis once this season started. So
please go watch the overtime right after that Falcons game.
So I did not like the pick, but that doesn't mean I hate Will Levis. I'm all on the Will Levis train right now. That's. I just want to be clear about the record here.
I can tell you this, Edward.
You're about to say something mean.
No, I'm not. But I can tell you this. I was wrong on Will Levis. Noah was wrong on Will Levis.
You were more wrong than me.
We quickly came around to Will Levis, but I can tell you what we weren't wrong on. We were ready to bench Marcus Mariota before everybody else was.
Hang on.
We were ready.
He said, speaking what you said, I never said out on Will Levis. I didn't like the draft pick. But I'm in on Will Levis. Continue on, yes.
We were out on John Robinson probably a good season and a half before everybody else was. I know you were. I mean, the second he drafted Isaiah Wilson, you were ready to commit murder.
Oh, that was the most mad I've ever been. If you thought I was mad about Levis,
but
oh my goodness. Oh, when they took Isaiah Wilson, I was ready to freaking. Oh, there's a meme about it that will live on forever. The meme is me.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen my stone face glare? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's out there forever. I've got it
terrible.
on my phone. I've been waiting for a good time to post it. Eli says if we hire a defensive coordinator, he's going to blow a gasket. It's okay to change your opinion, presented new evidence. Absolutely agree, Eli. Thank you.
And I did say, as my sister says, we were against Levis because we underestimated how bad Kentucky is. I did say it would be hilarious if he came and bowled out with the Titans.
And after that first game, with the 4 touchdowns against the Falcons, in that overtime, you said what an indictment it is on Kentucky.
Absolutely.
That absolutely word for word is what you said.
They had that guy, and it didn't work out so well.
I'm not going to lie. I did not like the draft pick, but today I can tell you I'm glad we made it.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it, and he's going to be the quarterback of the future. Offensive mind, Please, not freaking Antonio Pierce.
And can we stop? Well, sorry. Can we stop this? I've seen it on Twitter. Well, Will Levis is going to learn his fourth system in his fourth year.
I hate that crap.
That is so stupid, man. He's been in one NFL system.
Yes.
Okay.
We don't count. We're not going to all of a sudden start counting college coaches.
And I'm going to be honest with you. It didn't seem that complex of a system. I think he's got room to grow in the mind.
Yeah, because very easily you're starting to say he's used to having to learn new systems. This is a different age of college. Like, what are we going to say? Jalen Hurts, who I get there's problems about. Jalen Hurts, well, he's learning his sixth new system because he was with Doug Peterson, and then he was with Nick Sirianni. But before that, he was with Lincoln Riley and Nick Saban. So it's a lot of – stop it. So dumb. It's so dumb. Joe Burrow. Well, Joe Burrow had to learn Ohio State and then LSU, and then he had to go to Cincinnati. He had to learn 3 systems in 3 years. That was really tough on Joe. It's ridiculous.
It is.
It's so stupid. I literally crack up. And you know what is hilarious? I'm just calling out everybody. Most of the Titans quote-unquote media, it's just people like us. Like,
I agree, dude.
It's literally just people like us.
I agree. And let me tell you this. There isn't a single one of them that's asked just the tough question.
No, the one who did is having a little bit of personal issues right now. So he's struggling. He's having some
His
issues.
boy up north is gone.
Yeah.
Honestly, I expected PK to kind of be thrilled that he was gone. I thought
no,
Vrabel
he's
was
acting
a
like
dude.
his friend just
I
got
know
shot.
he is.
I mean, it's crazy.
He is, but I thought he was going to kind of be happy.
And I like Paul.
I do too.
Like,
I respect the heck out of Paul.
I do too. But he's like,
but I don't get
in
it.
the arms of the angel, fly away.
We need to donate to the PK hotline.
Yeah, like he's crying on the radio.
Yeah, and then you've got this other clown acting like Bobby Slowick is going to continue this run, pass BS that we've seen last few years.
That guy's
I know.
That guy's a moron.
I know.
Regardless, so I've enjoyed watching them all overreact. Like,
Yeah.
this is the National Football League, guys.
Listen.
People get fired.
It's Mike Vrabel. We fired Mike Vrabel. Whipty freaking do.
Take a breath. It'll be okay. It will be okay.
I can tell you right now, Mike Vrabel is not Bill Belichick.
What happens next year? The guy comes in and wins 3 games. Oh, that's 3 less. Oh, no. Like, whatever.
It is an indictment on itself that beating Miami was this team's Super Bowl this year.
100%.
And it's also an indictment that, like you said, Will Levis was inactive. He was inactive. He was not seeing the field if Tannehill didn't go down. And it also took Malik Willis looking like a scrub when he came in the London game.
True.
That's what it took.
We had to come out here and like, well,
we know he's not it.
that was kind of rough.
And, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. One, I'm so glad we talked Titans on this podcast because yesterday, I knew we were getting close to coming back and actually starting the show regularly, and it's kind of like, well, what are we going to talk about? When do we want to start? When do we want to start previewing the draft? What tackle do you want to take? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
we're going to be watching Joe Alt tape tonight.
Out of nowhere, seriously, Vrabel fired. I was like, okay. I was shocked. I was stunned. And one, it's going to be a super fun offseason. Two, it's just Mike Vrabel, okay? Like, the only thing he did more for this franchise than Mike Mularkey did was one more playoff game.
Steve, what happens with Bowen? I mean, our defense is pretty good. Well, here's what happens with Shane Bowen.
You take him
Cookville
down
High School needs an assistant defensive coordinator. He is definitely not going to be living in the state of Tennessee next year.
What do you think happens with Tim Kelly? Our offense kind of took an uptick in the play calling.
No, it's a fair question.
I know
it
it is.
Steve.
It is. I'm just messing,
No.
Steve. But
Here's what happens to every assistant. They're getting fired. They're doing this whole, well, the new coach will get to decide.
He said Cookville.
I mean, he's going to get fired.
Taylor, call him.
By the way, speaking of dudes on my last nerve, why am I supposed to care at all what Taylor Lewan thinks?
Right.
Speaking of guys acting like their dog just got shot, you know why he's mad? Because he can't just walk through the halls now of a team he doesn't play for anymore.
Let me tell you something. I understand, Taylor Lewan in terms of he was a Titans player, was a solid player when he was healthy and wasn't getting flagged. Unless he was playing Chandler Jones, of course, then he was pretty bad. And he has the popular podcast and things like that, but I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to this Titans organization who he has not been around, I don't value his opinion.
No. Eli, sadly, both tackles have been mocked to go in front of us here recently. I have good news, Eli. Mock drafts on January 10th mean less than nothing. Less than nothing. Remember Will Levis? He was going 3rd overall at this point last year, and we got him at 32. So, who cares about mock drafts?
Yeah.
In fact, I feel a lot better about the tackles being there than somewhere else. And you know why I'm not really that concerned about it? Because if the tackles are gone, there's about 4, 5 tackles that I'd probably be good with in the first round, and we got to get deeper into the tackles and watch all the tape. But then they can either, 1, trade back, or 2, take a Malik Neighbors, take a stud receiver, and if the tackles are gone, then you're going to get a high premium skill position player there. So I'm really not that concerned about it.
And I understand you got the two. You got Joe Walton, and I can't say his name, but from Penn State. However you say. But there's also, there's still some really good tackle prospects that you can get in the later rounds.
I don't know what's happening in the Tennessee basketball game, but apparently Vescovy is not playing well because Anthony keeps firing in here with screw Vescovy. So I don't know what's happening over there, but it's not good for the Vols. I don't even know who we're playing tonight.
They're going off the rails.
But he is every 10 minutes. It is.
We're playing.
Screw that.
I can tell you, we're playing Mississippi State. But I'll be honest with you guys. I think we're
Mississippi State. Okay.
I think we've locked into strictly Vols football and Titans football because I'll be honest. One, I respect the Vols and I root for them in every single sport, and we'll have some off stuff. But life is too crazy for me to be able to sit down and watch every single basketball game. It is.
I watched the tournament.
Yeah, I watched tournament too. I love watching our first round exits with Rick Barr.
Olu Fashanu.
Olu
that's
fuck
it.
Shanu.
What?
Olu.
We just jumped the sound barrier on that one. Big Jeff was projected to go top 10 that year around this time, and we got him. Chris, you're exactly right. The mock drafts right now, flip a coin, man. And
I'll tell you this too. I'm all for it. Like, obviously, I know we need a tackle, but if we get a top-notch wide receiver, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Well, we need a lot. Corner, whoever the top cornerback in the draft is he sitting there at 6, right? There's a lot of places the Titans can go.
It's a joke, there. Marco.
We lost.
It's
77 to 72. He sucks guts. Yeah, Marco, no.
It's a joke. It goes way back.
It goes way back. Its name's way before his name.
Well, it's not even that. It just goes.
Really, it's
to going to Braves games and.
Yes. Who was it?
the
Chickamauga Dam. Yeah. There's a dam in Chattanooga. It's a
whole
joke.
thing. Yeah.
We've been doing this for like 6 years.
Sorry. Not really.
Not really. It's a whole thing.
Oh man, this has been fun.
It has been. Chigakonkwo, which by the way, nobody can pronounce. Okonkwo. The last 3 plays I played.
Is it Chigazim? Chigazime? I know we just call him Chig.
Chigazim, I guess.
I don't know.
I don't have no clue. Chig. But it's not a Okonkwo. That's not difficult.
No.
For some reason, all the play-by-play guys have been saying Okonkwo. All right.
At pick 6, best players available all day.
Yes, I'm done talking now. Are you done talking?
Yeah, I think so.
That's how we're gonna end the show from now on. I'm done talking. Are you done talking?
Let the record be clear. We never, ever said anything bad about Will Levis.
You sound like a president when he did that. Let me clear the record.
Let me go ahead and tell you today.
Bill Clinton? Is that this?
All right, this is going off the rails.
I gotta end the show. Oh my God.
All right, it's gone off. But honestly, this has been a great first episode back. So glad we're back.
I hope somebody saw.
I
hope somebody saw what
I
you
think
just did.
I'm more pro firing Vrabel than you were, but I think you were all for it as well.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's a top 5 podcast moment.
I don't know how you thought of that. Or why. Oh, it's ridiculous.
That's a rarity. Oh, that was a good one.
All right. We'll see you next week. We got nothing to do with overtime for. So,
No.
we'll see you next week.
Enjoy watching playoff football and just think if Mike Vrabel wasn't our coach, maybe we would have been playing in it.
Who wins the Super Bowl? We'll do it now. We'll do it again right before the Super Bowl. Who plays in it? Who wins it?
You go first.
Nope. I asked you. Nope.
I got to do some thinking.
Let us know in the comments. Who's winning the Super Bowl? Who's playing in it? Who wins it? Tighten up indeed, Marco.
I'm going to go Super Bowl matchups, San Francisco against – man, I really want to say the Ravens, but at the same time –
That's going out on a limb.
No, I know, but here's why I don't want to say the Ravens is because Lamar has not got it done in the playoffs.
Correct.
So I'm going to go
Flacco.
Could you imagine?
Dude, that would be crazy.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go Bills. 49ers, Bills.
49ers, Bills.
Yeah, 49ers win it.
49ers win it. All right. Dion, I'm pro modern football for the Titans. Chris, Browns, Lions. Lions win the Super Bowl.
I would love to see it. I'm not going to lie. I would love to see it.
Ratbirds. Harbaugh special over San Francisco old team. Texans, says Marco. I don't think that one's likely. I don't think the Lions is likely either, to be honest. I think the Lions are more likely to lose to the Rams this week. Browns, says Tony. I think that San Francisco beats Dallas in the NFC Championship game, if that's possible, which it is because they're the 1 and the 2 seed. And I think I'm so tempted to take Cleveland. I'm so tempted.
I'm not going to lie.
Cleveland.
I'm rooting for Flacco.
I am too, but it's not going to happen. You know what?
Do it.
No, I don't want to do this.
He said no, absolutely not.
I see the path, and they've gotten lucky because the Dolphins have fallen off the face of the earth. The Bills can never get it done. And the Ravens with Lamar, I just don't trust Lamar in a big spot.
I don't either.
Chiefs, 49ers. 49ers win the Super Bowl. That's who I got.
Who's your Super Bowl MVP?
Christian McCaffrey. The best football player in the league is Christian McCaffrey. Monica? What?
I'm just kidding.
Who's your MVP? The Bill Clinton jokes are going off the rails tonight. Golly.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey, I think that's the easy pick is McCaffrey. But if I had the 49ers winning, I'll give it to who did I have them playing again? The Bills? I just picked on the fly, man. I'm going to give it to so many options. Juwan Jennings.
Okay. Real one.
Brock Purdy.
Golly, what a freaking dumb pick that was.
Dude,
Sheesh.
what if Juwan has a career day?
The MVP no longer goes to the best player in the league. You're exactly right about that. Lamar is going to win MVP. I don't have as big of a beef with that this year as other years, but it's not really offensive player of the year and has turned into the MVP more.
Yeah,
than
I agree
else.
with that. I agree with that.
All right.